Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Conversations right here on News Central Television. We now shift our focus and examine a troubling development from Libya, where security authorities have freed more than 200 migrants from a secret prison in the southeastern city of Kufra, following a raid on a human trafficking network. Now, some of the migrants were reportedly held in captivity for up to 2 years, subjected to abuse, extortion, and inhumane conditions. Now, Libya remains a major transit hub for migrants attempting the dangerous journey to Europe, including a significant number of Nigerians fleeing economic hardship, insecurity, and instability at home. Now, this discovery once again raises urgent questions about accountability, regional governance failures, and the human cost of global migration policies. Join us right now to have conversations is Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze, a security analyst and a former PDP presidential aspirant to the year 2022, and have Lanre Tolunhi here, who's a social and political strategist. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to start with you, Dr. Anakwenze. From a security standpoint, how was a large-scale secret detention facility able to operate for so long without detection in Libya?
In Libya, after their civil war, they still have different gangs, different groups, region thugs controlling the country. It's not really a unified government. You have like in the northern region, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest gangs controlling the country. They fought each other and they remove Gaddafi, but they're not able to come together.
Quite interesting.
That's the problem.
So what does this incident reveal about the strength, or will I say the weakness now, of Libya's current security architecture?
Just like a lot of countries in Nigeria, we have to be able to get them to work together. I see themselves as the same. You have different tribal units there that refuse to come together. We have the same problem in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. We have to work on loving each other, working with each other, seeing the bigger picture of the African person and African man. That's where we need to go.
Let me come to you now, Mr. Tolunhi. How deeply embedded are human trafficking networks within local power structures, militias, or criminal groups across Libya?
It is the trafficking networks are entrenched in Libya political economy. First, you could see that there is militia integration, just like the Arab news has described it, that there are third-tier detention economy. So when you see stuff like that happen, there's this kind of shadow network of clandestine prisons and warehousing in places like that. The other thing you see that there's a criminal syndicate that funds this militia, which is to fund militia and terrorism, because you can see it's a tactic that has been deployed so profit can be made to do a lot of funding. As we all know that there's an estimate of about 1.5 billion US dollar. That is what smuggling is rated to be about. That is huge and it's very, very humongous for funds that cannot be accounted for, but these funds are flowing and all that. Then it is obvious that the state officials are, a lot of them are involved, because you don't see that kind of massive thing happening in a country. Yes, we know there is security architectural breakdown, but still at that, in a country, it doesn't happen if there is no state official involvement. And at the same time too, just like Tetanus has explained, that smuggling and trafficking are generated roughly about $978 million in Libya since 2016. So we know that it's economic dependent on it, because there's a field economy. So the economic dependence of this thing is how all these things are worked out.
All right, so Mr. Tolunhi, tell me, is this discovery an isolated success for Libyan authorities, or does it point to a much wider and entrenched security problem?
The evidence for me suggests it reflects a wider and entrenched problem. And I'll say that first because when you look at it, it's a recurring discovery. As at early July 2025, we saw that authorities in Agadas, Ajadebia, I think that's what they call it. Ajadebia freed about 105 immigrants from secret human trafficking. But in February 2025, too, we saw that there were two mass graves where we had about 93 or 94 people dead, and we saw that which was between Kufra and one other place, and we saw that there were about 96 immigrants, but 76 immigrants were free, and we have thousands that fled in an registered centers. We've seen it. A lot of people are coming, and at the time, we saw that in mid-March 2025, we saw about 5,000 plus immigrants were detained. And in that, 13 officials of the DCIM centers and unknown numbers of people we've seen free. This a system I'd rather look. We have like a system, we can call that a system that rather is a rogue site, and we can see that a lot of things is happening. So it is something that is evidential that it is a wider thing. Is a bigger problem that must be looked up to and must be looked into rather and be solved. And for that to be solved, there must be a little bit of dialogue, an internal dialogue and external dialogue to make up mind to ensure that stuff like this don't happen again.
I'm going to come back to you now, Dr. Anakwenze. Many migrants transiting Libya are Nigerians seeking routes into Europe. Why has Libya become such a critical choke point for West African migration?
If you look at the geography, Libya is straight off. You just go, like you're going up north, either you go to Egypt or you go to Libya. It's straight up to Europe, and from Europe, if they can cross, then they can get a better living and they can get a better job. For me, I'm more concerned about what are we doing as Africans and Nigerians, so that our children don't have to be going out in the Sahara Desert and suffering like this, whereas we have a country we can fix. I'm more interested in that. Otherwise, in America, a lot of Latin Americans and Africans are going through Mexico trying to go into America. People are doing everything crazy just to go into America or go into Europe. Why can't we fix Nigeria and fix our place so that Europeans can be coming to us for jobs?
Quite interesting.
That's what I'm more interested in.
All right, so from a political perspective, how does Libya's divided governance complicate, efforts to crack down on trafficking and even organized crime?
They are divided groups, are armed, well armed. They all fought Gaddafi. It will be hard to put them together. But United Nations should try to get them together, because the world came also to help divide the country. Now we need to see how to put it back together. It's not going to be easy. Like I said, I'm more interested in what we do so that our children are not going out through the desert and going to look for a fortune in Europe.
So if you were to suggest ways for us to avert this, this transition or this massive transit by Nigerians, what would you suggest at this point, Dr. Anakwenze?
We need to fix our country. We need to fix Nigeria, and African leaders need to fix African countries. All the minerals in the world is all in Africa. All the countries, China, Russia, America, everybody's coming to us to get the raw materials they need to build the computers, to build batteries. We have all these things. We're not using it because we don't have good leadership. We need to get ourselves together. If we get ourselves together, people will not be going to Europe to get a job. Europeans can be coming to us to get jobs. And, we have everything. We have good land that's very fertile. We have rain 9 months in a year. We have agricultural sector that we can develop. Our land is very good. It can make any kind of food, and that creates jobs. I'm more interested in doing things that will create jobs, like developing IT, developing computer infrastructure, agricultural jobs. We need to promote and encourage youth and help them create a good future. My company here in Nigeria, I have big agricultural company, and I have bottling plant, I have big pig farm. It's young people that I hire to run them. And it come to where I'm from, hardly anybody unemployed. You don't see anybody hungry. We need to encourage our business people, private sector, to develop factories and industries to employ young people, to give them hope. It's hard for these young people to start. You need to give them a helping hand and for them to get on their feet. That's what we need to be focusing on. We have everything. We have minerals, oil, gas, zinc, tin. We have, what don't we have? To make tires, we have rubber. We have petroleum byproducts. That's what you need to make rubber, make tires. We have lithium, more than anywhere in the world, to make battery. We're not applying our brains. Our leaders are not thinking. Our young people are suffering. I feel sorry for them. It's due to poor leadership in Africa and Nigeria.
Let me come to you now, Mr. Tolunhi. To what extent would you have, regional and international actors prioritize the border control, over dismantling the criminal economies that profit from migration?
Scientists are looking at data, and the data will see evidences have shown that border control has been prioritized at the expense of addressing criminal economy. When you look at it, the first one you look at it is the EU focus on interception and returns, just like the Arab news, because I like to make references. Arab news has suggested that Europe are paying Libyan actors to stop movement, not to protect life. You see, there's interception. Interception on the sea has increased for over 130,000 people have been intercepted since 2015, or have they reduced this insecurity? They've not. The other thing is there is this international strategy where you see the EU has signed deals with Libya, with countries like Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt to provide seaboat and all that training funding and everything they need. But they have not done anything to actually address the root cause analysis. So there's a neglect of the root causes. And these root causes, what are these root causes that's meant to be addressed? All these are not being, and we will now see that another time you see that some international bodies, because of some countries, because of personal things or because of what they will gain, we've seen them support abusive actors. Instead of, because these are the root causes, you see them support abusive actors, and when these actors are doing, when you have these leaders that brutal to the followers and all that, you see the movement is not what it should be, because people want better life, just like my big uncle has spoken, and when you see things like this happen, the international body are not really paying attention to what they should pay attention to. Everybody is being selfish when they want to come to Africa to mine and all that. They open the door and only to immediately they shut borders and all that. We understand they need to protect their region. We understand they need to do that. But in order to protect their region more, in order to protect their country more, they should let there be a little bit of stability in Africa. Because believe me, if there's stability in Africa, there's stability in Nigeria, there's stability in Ghana, there's stability everywhere in Africa. Nobody would want to leave to another country. They would rather stay in their country. And if they want to even leave, they would rather play in their region, which is the African continent, just like we have in Europe. When you see Europeans just tour around Europe, they have no reason to want to leave because there's a little bit of stability. You see, an average American probably does not even have a passport because they don't see reason to want to leave that place. So if Africa has a little bit of peace, a little bit of stabilization, it will be better for Africa. It will be better for the rest of the world.
So tell me, how might revelations like this, Mr. Tolunhi, affect Libya's relationship with the European Union, particularly on migration cooperation agreements?
I don't think it's, when you see that's why I told you that, the first thing I said was that they've focused on interception and return. They've not done anything to stop it. So it's actually really affecting the problem with Libya. If you look at it, I just told you that we've seen funds being released to Libya. We've seen funds being released to these countries. And what is this fund being used for? Just don't let these people cross. They are not taking care of it. So I don't think it's affecting the relationship with them. But as far as they are concerned, they just don't want people to cross over to the other side where they belong to. Let them stay there. And as long as they are doing that, now, because when these funds come, the good intention they have, they want to protect their country, that they want people to go back. But because they are giving the funds, what the funds is being used for, probably they are not following through to know what is being used for to the last penny or to the last cent, as it might be. Because if they know what is being used for, the money, because now these guys do all kind of funny things. People bring taking the money? What happened to the middlemen? What happened to those guys, the actors, the key actors? Some of them get the funds, don't do what they need to do. Now, the people that they see, the people that they are even meant to return, they actually return them to their bases. Most cases, they don't return them to their bases. I can bet most of those people are the higher percentages of the people you see in these underground cells and in these underground holding facilities.
Just first before we wrap this conversation, quickly, gentlemen, I'd like to just hear your final thoughts. Start with you, Dr. Anakwenze.
The main point is, Western Europe is not as big as West Africa. They are afraid that their country will be flooded by non-whites. That the only thing they have is that Western Europe, it will become black if they leave it open. That's what they're afraid of in America too. You see, Trump is keeping the blacks and the brown people back because he wants to have more white people in America. So they're just trying to protect their interest. They're afraid of one day everybody's black in Europe and they don't have anywhere else to go. We need to focus on fixing up our own place. That's the better solution. We need to have governments taking responsibility for developing the youth and encouraging the youth and creating jobs. Like in Nigeria, the government spent billions buying rice from overseas, whereas we have land that can make rice, we have river, we have rain, we have people that needs to be trained to do that. Instead of that, we are worrying about people going to Libya. They are going there because there's no opportunity in Nigeria. And
all right. Let me just get your final thoughts, Mr. Tolunhi, just in 30 seconds.
Okay, I will say that there's need for warning and awareness campaign on the government. And when there's a lot of warning and campaigns to let people know the danger of this, and after that, the government of the day or the government at every level, both to the federal to the local level, need to now start engaging these people, and within a private individual need to do more to in making sure that our young adults, our youths are being properly engaged and make them understand the danger, and but give them value and give them reason why they want to stay. Just like I said, an average American does not even have a passport.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for having this conversation with us.